Hello and welcome to the Fire Chief's video message for November 2022. Welcome back, Pete. We're here at Station 32.
It's good to be here, Chief.
Yep, absolutely. There's been a lot going on. It's been a couple months since we did a video due to just some conflicts, but a lot here to be talking about, and we just went through a week with some significant losses in the fire service in Montgomery County.
Yeah, it's that not only have we been busy call volume wise and that sort of thing, but certainly we've had some things that have impacted us, our crews and personnel, and with those losses certainly has an impact.
Extremely unexpected and tragic loss of firefighter paramedic Michael Guido, and this past weekend, several hundred members of the fire service joined his community, his local family members, just outside of Pittsburgh, where he was born and grew up at, and supported his home family, his volunteer organizations, as well as his Station 1A shift and Berwyn Heights family through the viewing, funeral, and gravesite service. So as a part of the fire service, we respond to a lot of others in the community's emergencies at the time of need, and at times it becomes us that have those needs and need assistance and support. So I want to say a shout out of appreciation and thanks to everybody who showed support to his family, support to their coworkers, and support to stepping up here in Montgomery. A great amount of resources were out of town supporting Station 1A shift, and the folks here did a great job to continue service here in Montgomery County. So my appreciation goes out to everybody there. During the same week, we heard of the passing of retired Captain Jerry Graham. Retired in 2008, was at 19B shift when he retired. He had just been at a couple of events in just the days prior to that with members of the MCFRS family, and just heartbreaking news of his sudden death as well. It goes to the points of, cherish every day, keep plan for the day, and don't put off for tomorrow what you can do today.
Yeah, and those are two people. One person young had a terrific impact in just a few years, and of course another who was retired had a long service of career here in Montgomery County, and both tragically or surprisingly left us too soon.
And during these difficult times, recognize that MCFRS, MCGov has resources available. We have the behavioral health team and their resources. We have the county's employee assistance process. There's private providers out there. It is okay to say you're not okay. It's okay to recognize the need for others to assist you. And please, if you need assistance, reach out. If you know somebody else who needs assistance, reach out and let us get that help to anybody and everybody that needs it before things get built up and overflow the cup, shall we say.
And we know that this is a busy time of year, in responses, but also a lot of holiday celebrations and a lot of stress, goes along with that. So good point, and thank you for bringing that up.
And when we talk about responses, no doubt we had a significant fire a couple of days ago at Twin Towers, Fiddler Lane, very much related to a micro-mobility device, or what we would classify as an e-scooter. The folks working that day did a great job handling that event. The occupant was significantly burned, significantly injured, and closed the door as he exited the apartment. So set up a scenario that was beneficial to the residents and supportive of the fire rescue activities by far. But the micro-mobility e-scooters, lithium-ion circumstances is one that faces us each and every day. We saw some stuff on the news just this weekend about New York City, right?
Yeah, and back to Silver Spring, of course, there was an explosion associated with that. The young person did get out, suffered some injuries, but there was a significant fire. But as you mentioned, closing the door definitely made a big difference to the rest of the residents there. Combined with a rapid response and handling of that incident, that was unique. But in contrast, although the New York incident that was a few days later was very dramatic, it's not the first time New York's responded. They have hundreds of these every month.
Right, and it's not the first time we've had a lithium battery issue. We did a very focused 3-day long after the fire from Fiddler Lane. So we spent that Saturday, Sunday, and part of Monday focusing countywide, all stations out at key locations, apartment buildings, multifamily structures, and commercial, grocery stores and the like, passing out information, hitting the topic about lithium-ion batteries. They're everywhere, they're prolific, they're great in our day-to-day life, but when they go into fault and failure, there's that high energy release, high thermal release, gas production, and there's some key early warning signs, and by far, we want everybody to recognize, use the products appropriately with manufacturer's recommendations, and where the scooters are in play, aim to not put them in the entryway, at the front door of these apartments or townhouses where it could block your only or your primary exit.
Yeah, and of course we had some media reach out, and we had a discussion about that safety initiative. I've also had the opportunity to interact with some of the community members, and it was a great effort by our personnel over a couple of days, and they were very creative in the way they reached to the community, whether it was a community event, grocery store, sporting event, or whatever. They were out and did a great job and covered a lot of territory. But those devices, as you suggest, are very popular. They're used in practically everything, but people's knowledge, fire safety knowledge, just hasn't caught up with the use yet.
And this week, as being November, being the change of the clocks, the change in the lighting, as it gets dark much earlier, and as our kids are walking to and fro school, we've got a partnership with DOT this week about pedestrian safety, engaging with our high school students. So a lot of going on, and great work by the folks in risk reduction and our partners in DOT and MCPS. Talking about partners, we got an equity report released about 2 weeks ago that we've been undertaking for about 6 months. Yeah,
a long time coming, maybe not that long, 6 months, but a lot of work behind the scenes. Of course, you've been tuned into that along the way. Report did come out. There's a lot of good information in there. Not so surprising in some areas, but very interesting and important perspectives, I think, to share and help us move forward.
So County Executive Elrich, through his Reimagine Public Safety initiative, this is one part of that. And this group was looking at and reviewing existing and proposed policies, practices, programs, services, and how, if there are disparate outcomes based on gender, race, or religion, sexual orientation, and other factors. There was a survey sent out in June, and thanks to all the folks in MCFRS that completed the survey, as well as the good number of folks that participated in one-on-one focused groups and interviews. As you outlined, some of the concepts in the report are not new for us. We've been working on this for more than a minute and more than the recent past. There's always a process for which we can improve our diversity process, equity, and inclusion, and get to a better interface with our community and internal customers. So we're working on the FY24 budget proposals. There's going to be a great emphasis in 24 that helps address things out of these 17 recommendations. So as this chart shows, as it was tied into that email, here's the recommendations. 12 of these 17 are, primary to us in fire rescue. A good number of these are already ongoing. We're ongoing during the time of the survey and continue, and the team has been tasked, and we're tasked to work to improve this. There'll be a lot more coming out on this from my office throughout, as well as the department. But folks that have questions, go to that link, go look at it, read up on it, reach out.
Yeah, and I think the good thing about that is now it's in writing. You can look at it. There were some things that were, as you suggested, that we were already been working on just because it was the right thing to do. But this kind of laid it out now and gives us a little focus and direction on where we're going to go next.
Right. And this was part one of the two parts of the Reimagined Public Safety for Fire Rescue. The second part, which is engaged with the Center for Public Safety Management, the Operations, Deployment, and Staffing study. We expect to see those results, the draft report of that, very soon. And then by the beginning of the year, look like to see the finalized report published on that. So a lot of work being done, a lot of good opportunity for us to be self-critical on ourselves. So good work by everybody, and I appreciate their dedication and participation.
Yep.
Since we haven't had a meeting in October and a video, we had a lot of changes occur in October with new EMS 702 and EMS 700. A lot of good stuff.
Yeah, and that was something, some things that we learned during the pandemic and things operationally that were improved our services, and we were able to budget those and get those and plan on those, and here they are.
Yeah, so EMS 702 is housed at Station 26, so that now transitions to 3 field EMS duty officers, each with a specific geographic response area. They're being dispatched on certain criteria of calls to be primary responders to these incidents. As well, EMS 700's in place at ECC. Both of these functions started on October 9th. EMS 700 right now is roughly 0700 to 2300. We see that transitioning to 24 hours a day around the clock at the beginning of the year. Exact date will be coming out, but that expands our capacity. As you know, last night is another example of hospital volume, hospital capacity, and wait times. This ability for EMS 700 to suggest, can you go to this hospital instead of that hospital? Your patient will be seen faster, as well as you will be able to turn around. So great work by Chief Ogren, Chief Kaufman in the EMS section, and all the DOs out in the field, and all the providers. So great work in October.
Yeah, and I think you mentioned it, the fact that the patients are getting that quicker and more efficient care by just that simple fact of monitoring the hospitals and get places, because we have been extremely busy with call volume, going on blue alerts on a regular basis, and I think this has been a great, not only for our people, get them back in service quicker, but the patient also.
Absolutely, and these tools are out there, and our savvy providers could be pulling up the hospital dashboard on their apparatus phone or on their computer and then make that decision. But with the EMS 700, just one click of the button away on the radio to be able to provide that, it is a faster resource for that provider to be given a suggestion as to take the patient here instead of there for their needs. Talking about new, we got new apparatus on the horizon.
Yeah, some's already on the road. Some is going to be on the road very shortly, but I know you got some big plans on the way.
So last week, Tower 18 and 19 went in service. Those are the two first mid-mounts, the Ascendants, two of 5. So they're all out in service. The other ones are still being produced. The final inspection on number 3 is slated for like the second week of December. And then the final inspection on number 4 and 5 is slated for the first or second week of January. So we won't see those upfitted, ready for service, and driver's training completed until probably March or April at the back end of that process for sure. But that's a great enhancement of both the TDAs last year and now these 5 towers this year. Question that people ask me, what about Tower 24? Where's it going? Decision hasn't been finalized yet. We will communicate with the folks at 24. We will communicate with the organization when that information is final. But it has not been finalized yet. So great work by the Tower Committee on those trucks. And like I've said here before, I think we will be really happy with the services that those midships can perform us.
Yeah, and the business apparatus purchasing and specifications and all that has really changed. It takes a long time now to from start to finish, and thanks to a lot of good planning, a couple of years ago, we're seeing the fruits of that labor right now.
And so right now, it used to be a full year from signing contract to seeing vehicle come off the production line. It's very much actually now 2 years of lead time and planning on an aerial device. So that's a big deal, and Fleet is working aggressively with OMB on that. We're going to talk about the engine companies because there's been a lot of talk, and when I sat here before, I wasn't the contract mechanism and background stuff wasn't complete, but is now complete. Emergency One is the awarder. Emergency One is the new vendor for engine companies. So these two pictures are very rough sketches, very rough. And I say very rough is because the raised roof is not yet determined. We may choose to go with the raised roof. We may choose to go with a flat roof. The wheelbase is going to be adjusted a little bit. And some of the hose configuration is going to be changed a little bit. But there's 6 of them that are already ordered with Emergency One. These are the Typhoon cab and chassis, or Typhoon cab with E1 product line. We are pushing to try to get the other 3 engines for FY24 also ordered in the same time, so it could be a total of 9 being produced at the one time by E1, and work on going with those engines. So don't have any dates yet, don't have any final picture yet, but 6 to 9 E1 engines on the horizon soon. On the EMS unit side, there's 11 units on order, combination of 22 and 23s. That one is very much a huge moving target and moving parts because these are commercial chassis, and that is a huge delay and lead time to get those chassis to Rescue One PL Custom for the bodies, and a lot of work going on. So.
Yeah, and simply because it's called E1, it's not an electric vehicle, right? Just want to make that clear.
Well, so talking about electric vehicles, we are seeking a grant to procure an EV engine company. That procurement for one will be about $2 million. The vehicles are running 1.6 to just a tad over that, and then the facility cost could be every bit of close to $300,000. So yep, we are working to try to get additional separate money to get an EV, an electric vehicle for an engine, so we can get one in and test it. We do have 2 EV Lightnings, F-150 Lightnings, that are on order by County Fleet, so they will be coming to us to be in the battalion/EMS supervisor car matrix. But we're working on those hybrids and low emissions and EVs, but the E1s are regular diesels. So on the Fleet front, since we last met, we have a new team member at Fleet, lady by the name of Michelle Davis. She comes to us from Washington Gas. She's joining the Fleet support unit and has a great experience in fleet management and fleet support. So welcome, Michelle, and if you're over there on the Building A side of the campus, you will undoubtedly likely run into Michelle.
Yeah, and she's going to be busy, as you know, and it's good to have her on board, and she does bring a lot of experience, so good for her.
On the facility side, some really good stuff coming out of the ground, as we would describe it. These pictures that were taken just the other day of New Station 35 outlines it's pretty much close to the engine room being ready for roof. The current timeline is mid-summer of next year, so roughly about 9 to 10 months from now. That's a goal of the project. They've got to get it under roof before the winter conditions hit us. We're talking about a little bit warmer than normal, but also more snow than in the past year. So getting it under roof will really allow them to keep going during the winter time frame, but great to see 35. How many years have we been at the temporary facility, Pete?
But I don't know. It's a while. Let's see.
16
Tom
years.
Carr was the chief, I think, right?
It was 2006
So what's
when
that
we moved
tell you?
into the temporary facility. So 16 years on Gateway Center Drive.
Yeah, wow. And well, whatever, it's temporary. From what I understand, though, they're pretty much on schedule with the new station, so that's good news.
Like I said,
Yeah.
get them on the roof so that the winter delays don't hit them. And then we'll see if they are successful in September, August or so timeframe getting in service. Station 14 expansion. This picture shows a side A view of Station 14. These 3 new bays being added on the Bravo side of the structure between the old engine rooms and the ball field. So that's a big addition to Station 14. That'll bring the large units, the tanker, the brush engine, and from the sheds back into the station, and give a lot more flexibility in how vehicles are parked at the station, and that there's no primary vehicles across the driveway in the sheds. So work's going on at 14.
And that's a big deal for them because obviously they are a big part of our special operations team, and now, as you said, they're all will be situated in the main area of the station.
Right, and the final configuration with the new vehicles or the bigger vehicles in the station, like the UTV will be left hooked up to a tow vehicle, the boats will be left hooked up, which will enable faster response time and delay, reduced needs to do hookups on tow vehicles. A great deal there. So we've covered a lot this month. Want to make sure that everybody did just last weekend change their clock and check their alarms, make sure that they're present. And we also had a carbon monoxide proclamation, right?
Yep, and of course that is an annual event where you were in the county executive join the county council in promoting that and raising the awareness. Of course, we have a pretty solid law in place here in Montgomery County, which will definitely save lives for sure. And that was good to get that message out. But a little CYA during this month. Check your alarm, that is, and just for clarification.
And Montgomery County over 40 years ago implemented the smoke alarm requirement, which makes a huge difference and has saved lives. And it's been since 2018 with the implementation of the carbon monoxide alarm. So big deal, and appreciation to Councilmember Rice and County Executive Elrich was council member at the time. They were the co-writers of that bill. So anything else to add before we wrap this one up?
Just want to throw out a friendly reminder that this is the season of giving, and we have the employee giving campaign, and of course Thanksgiving and giving thanks. It's a great time to. It's very easy to go online to be part and participate into the employee giving campaign. It goes till December 20th. So just take a look at that. There's a lot of good charities. Certainly the firefighters have a foundation, and National Fallen Firefighters, and your local schools, whatever. A lot of good charities that could use some help.
Indeed, absolutely. So as you get into the holiday seasons, we are going to see our uptick in fire activities, alternative heat sources, fireplace ashes, and that. Make sure everybody's ready, make sure they have their cold weather bags. While yes, it was just 80 degrees, maybe like 2 days ago, we're now back into the appropriate weather, and as I said, they're forecasting a wetter than normal winter with a lot more snow than we've had in the years past. So get that opportunity, get ready, get your extra gear on the rigs, and I appreciate all the hard work. We had a really big incident a couple days ago on College Parkway. Hard work done by the crews there, and a good effort. So until next month, we'll be back here and have an update on what's going on with our December video, right?
Yes, sir.
All right, so again, until next month, take care, be safe.